Namaskar and greetings from Delhi. When you nurse a baby in an ICU with your hands, remember those hands are not yours. They are God's own hand. So, to all the healthcare workers from the God's own country, I welcome you all for this academic presentation and thank IAP Kerala State Branch for the opportunity given. We'll be discussing about neonatal jaundice. Resources for this presentation are from the FBLC training module for doctors and nurses 2014, Manual of Neonatal Care by J.P. Kloharty, Stark, Hansen, and Ashenwall, AIMS Protocols in Neonatology, second edition. What is neonatal jaundice? Jaundice, as we all know, is yellow discoloration of skin and sclera. It is the most common morbidity in the first week of life. 60% of the term neonates and 80% of the preterm neonates are clinically jaundiced. It is a serious, potentially treatable illness and may cause neurological damage. What is the classical pattern of physiological jaundice? All these factors have to be there for the physiological jaundice. Jaundice that first appears between 24 to 72 hours of age. Maximum intensity is seen on 4th to 5th day in the term and 7th day in the preterm neonate. Does not exceed 15 milligram per deciliter. Some books say 17 milligram per deciliter. It is clinically undetectable after 14 days. No treatment is required, but the baby should be observed closely for signs of worsening of jaundice. What are the alert signs in neonatal jaundice? Or when does the jaundice become pathological? Any of the following signs are the alert signs. That is, clinical jaundice in first 24 hours of life. We can total serum bilirubin increasing by more than 5 milligram per deciliter per day or 0.5 milligram per deciliter per hour. Total serum bilirubin more than 15 milligram per deciliter. Conjugated serum bilirubin more than 1 to 2 milligram per deciliter. Clinical jaundice persisting for 2 weeks in full term and more than 3 weeks in preterm neonates. So what is the mechanism of this increase in total serum bilirubin causing jaundice? The three main mechanisms are increased production of bilirubin from degradation of RBCs, decreased clearance of bilirubin by immature hepatic mechanisms, reabsorption of bilirubin by enterohepatic circulation. A slide about breastfeeding and jaundice. Inadequacy of breastfeed is a common cause of exaggerated jaundice during the first few days. Problems such as improper positioning and attachment, cracked or sore nipples, and engorgement resulting in reduced milk transfer to baby may enhance enterohepatic circulation, enhancing the bilirubin load in the body. Prevention requires optimal support, repeated counseling, and helping the mothers in person. Causes of jaundice. We all know jaundice can be classified as indirect or the direct. Indirect is also called as unconjugated, and direct is called as the conjugated. Causes for appearing within 24 hours of age. Hemolytic disease of the newborn, RH, ABO and minor group incompatibility, infections, intrauterine viral infections, bacterial or malaria, G6PD deficiency, which is common in few parts of the country. Causes for which appearing after 24 hours of life. It could be all the causes as enlisted in previous slides. The jaundice could be physiological. It could be because of polycythemia, concealed hemorrhages like scapal hematoma, subarachnoid bleed, intraventricular hemorrhage, sepsis, neonatal hepatitis, metabolic disorders. Persistent jaundice, the causes are ongoing hemolysis in a blood group incompatibility, congenital hypothyroidism, liver disorders, sepsis, hereditary blood disorders like spherocytosis or elephantocytosis, or G6PD deficiency. It could be surgical like obstructive bowel conditions like malrotation, atrezias. Clinical jaundice, clinical assessment of a jaundice neonates. The history and examination in all such cases are directed towards the etiology, severity, and complications of the jaundice. When the total serum bilirubin is more than 5 to 7 milligram per deciliter, the baby may appear to be clinically jaundiced. Progression is cephalocaudal, means from head to toe or towards the hands. This chart by Kramer in 1969 depicts the visual perception of the jaundice. As you can see, it is divided into 5 zones. Zone 1, which is till the shoulders. If jaundice is appearing till shoulders, it is approximately 6 milligram per cent. In zone 2, which is still umbilical region, it is 9%. Zone 4, which is just above the knee, is around 12%, and just above the feet, it is 15 milligram per deciliter. If foot and hands are involved, the level are usually more than 15, that is 18 to 20 milligram percent. Once the baby is under phototherapy, these assessments may be incorrect because the baby might appear bleached. Approach to a jaundiced baby. The following questions need to be addressed. What is the gestation? What is the birth weight and the current weight? What is the postnatal age in hours? Does the baby need evaluation for jaundice? Does the baby need phototherapy, exchange, transfusion? Or does the baby have features of encephalopathy? To deliberate upon these questions, we have got two more speakers coming up.
Hello everyone. We'll study about how to approach neonatal jaundice and its management. First of all, we should know measurement of bilirubin. What are the methods to measure it? First of all, this is transcutaneous bilirubinometer. Second, measurement of total serum bill. And third, as described by our previous speaker about the Kramer's rule, that is visual inspection. All the neonates should be visually inspected for jaundice every 8 to 12 hours during initial 3 to 5 days of life. We should examine the neonates in bright daylight or white light. TCB. What is TCB? It is a screening tool. It is more accurate compared to our visual inspection. Then it is non-invasive. Site of measurements are forehead and upper end of the sternum. It is a R-specific TCB can be used for prediction of subsequent hypertrophy. And what are its limitations? It can be used only in neonates who are 35 weeks or more. It can be used after 24 hours of age. It is unreliable once the TSB goes level beyond 12 to 14 milligram per deciliter. And it is not useful in the babies who are already undergoing phototherapy. What are the indications? Jaundice in first 24 hours. Beyond 24 hours, if the jaundice is likely to be more than 12 to 14. If the baby is less than 35 weeks of gestation, during phototherapy for monitoring the progress, and after phototherapy to check the rebound in selected cases as in hemolytic jaundice. And if we are unsure about visual assessment, these are the indications in which we have to measure total serum bilirubin. How often to measure? Every 12 to 24 hours if a baby is having non-hemolytic jaundice and a baby is term with total serum bill below 20 to 22 milligram per deciliter, and every 6 to 8 hours if the unit with RH isoimmunization during initial 24 to 48 hours or so. What are the methods of measuring total serum bill? First is biochemical, that is high performance liquid chromatography, which is gold standard and is used for research purposes only. Vandenberg reaction, which is usually performed in labs. And second is micro method for TSB estimation, which is based on spectrophotometry and estimate the total serum bill on a micro blood sample that is 0.01 ml, which is predominantly used for unconjugated dose. How do we approach the jaundice unit? For that, we should know what is serious jaundice. Serious jaundice is if there is a presence of visible jaundice in first 24 hours, if it is yellow palms and soles are present, there are signs of acute encephalopathy or kernicterus. What is that? That is hypertonia, abnormal posturing, arcing, retrocollis, opisthonotus, or conversion, fever, high pitch cry. TCB or TSB values more than 95th percentile age as per age-specific nomogram. How do we manage a jaundice baby? Management of jaundice is directed towards reducing the level of bilirubin and preventing CNS toxicity. Prevention of hyperbilirubinemia by early and frequent feeding, and reduction of bilirubin achieved by phototherapy or exchange transfusion. The decision to treat depends upon the severity and the cause of jaundice. If our baby is 35 week gestation or more, then we should follow AAP nomogram, which is used for deciding the need for phototherapy or exchange transfusion. It provides two age-specific nomograms. One is for phototherapy and another is for exchange transfusion that we'll be discussing later. Nomogram have lines for 3 different risk categories of neonates depending upon the gestation. And if there are risk factors present, then we'll have to deal the AP nomogram accordingly. For that, we should know what are the risk factors. It includes presence of isoimmune hemolytic anemia, AVO incompatibility, RH incompatibility, G6PD deficiency, asphyxia, temperature instability, sepsis, hypothermia, significant lethargy, acidosis, hypoalbuminemia. These are the 8 specific nomograms. On our left hand side of the screen, we can see this is AP nomogram, which is used for phototherapy. And if the baby is having a higher bilirubin, then we'll follow exchange transfusion. There's a right on our right hand side. For babies less than 35 weeks of gestation and birth weight less than 2 kgs, these are the guidelines to treat hyperbilirubin in preterm neonates. If our baby is less than 1 kg, the guidelines for phototherapy is 5 to 7 if the baby is healthy and 4 to 6 if the baby is sick. Subsequently, if the baby is between 1 to 1.5 kg, 7 to 10 is for phototherapy. If the baby is healthy, and if the baby is sick, then it is 6 to 8. If our baby is between 1.5 to 2 kg, then for phototherapy, in healthy baby it is 10 to 12, and in sick it is 8 to 12. Then 2 to 2.5 kg, if the baby is healthy, 12 to 15, or if the baby is sick, then it is 10 to 12. Babies needing phototherapy should have a jaundice workup, hemoglobin, reticulocyte count, peripheral smear for evidence of hemolysis, then mother and baby's blood group, G6PD, and DCP, that is direct home test. We should save the baby's and mother's blood sample for cross matching if there is a requirement of exchange transfusion also. A follow-up plan may be devised based on pre-discharge risk assessment. This includes the following. Risk factor, there is a history of jaundice needing treatment in previous sibling, blood group incompatibility, visible jaundice at discharge, gestation less than 38 completed weeks, high prevalence of G6PD deficiency, if we are having a primary paramother, if the weight loss at discharge is more than 3% per day or more than 7% cumulative weight loss. It may need a repeat visit depending upon the physician assessment. Friends, we can see there are different phototherapy devices. On the left hand side, there is LED phototherapy, which is commonly used. That is the double surface phototherapy, or can be used as intensive phototherapy. And nowadays, fiber optic Willy blanket are also used. Light sources. There are halogen spotlights, fluorescent lamp devices, fiber optic pads, compact fluorescent tubes, and light emitting devices. CFL have 4 blue and 2 white CFL, or 6 CFLs can be used to increase the irradiance output. Nowadays, blue LED units are commonly used and are equally effective. It has the advantage of long life up to 50,000 hours and is capable of delivering higher irradiance than CFL lamps. Then guidelines for optimizing phototherapy. Irradiance of phototherapy unit should be minimum value of 30 microwatt per centimeter square per nanometer in the wavelength of 460 to 490 nanometers. Using blue tubes or LED light source, monthly irradiance check by flux meter, keeping the phototherapy unit as close as 15 centimeters, ensuring unit maintains normal temperature. We can align the phototherapy unit so that unit lies directly beneath the center of the unit, and increase the exposed surface of the infant and the phototherapy by placing another phototherapy unit by the side or beneath the unit, and reflecting material around the radiant warmer or incubator can be used, and we can keep the diaper as short as possible. What are the supportive care? You should cover the eyes with opaque eye patches and genitals with diaper, monitor temperature, ensure hydration by continuing breastfeed or by continuing express breast milk feeding. We can interrupt feeding or clinical care procedure provided the total serum bill is below the extreme level. We should monitor urine output for hydration status, and it is important that a plastic cover or a shield be placed below phototherapy lamps to avoid accidental injury to neonates. Simultaneously, we should be aware of the side effects, that is rashes, overheating, hypothermia, dehydration, diarrhea. Retinal damage, and in vitro studies reveal that there is DNA damage also, and indirect hyperbiliary phototherapy results in bronze baby syndrome. Bilirubin photoproducts sensitize the copper clot marrow, leading to brown color. We should discontinue phototherapy if 2SB levels are below age-specific cutoffs and measure the TSB values 12 to 24 hours after stopping phototherapy to check for the rebound. Exposing the neonate to sunlight does not help the neonate in the treatment of jaundice and is associated with risk of sunburn and therefore should be avoided. Now I'll hand over the presentation to my senior for further.
Yeah. Excuse me for the technical issues. I am Dr. Surinder Singh Best, working as senior specialist in Swami Dayanand Hospital. And during this COVID time, I'm so thankful to NNF Kerala and the team to have given us this opportunity to talk to you. With me were Dr. Adarsh Priyazad, who is a senior specialist and an NNF fellow, and Dr. Palak Dogra. She's a senior resident and an NNF fellow from Swami Dayanand Hospital. So they have already covered the causes, the how to approach to a neonatal jaundice baby, and how are you going to treat, what decisions you have to make when you're going to treat the baby. And yeah. So now what do you have to do when you have to do, you need to do an exchange transfusion. So this is why I have a few slides to talk to you about this. So why we're in a hurry to treat, why we're in worry to treat a simple jaundice where a baby is feeding and is actually having no respiratory distress, no cyanosis, is not vomiting, is able to maintain his vitals, is actually crying and laughing and smiling also. So yes, if the jaundice becomes too much, if the serum bilirubin rises to a very high level very fast, there is a risk of bilirubin-induced neurological damage. So this is something which every pediatrician, every nurse, every person involved in care of newborn has to see to it that nobody suffers from bilirubin-induced neurological damage, which in past was called as kernicterus. So in case your phototherapy fails, or if the serum bilirubin is too high, even in the beginning, that it can endanger the brain of a small baby, a newborn. So we need to do something. And for this, we have our cutoff values. As a chart was shown to you, they had the American Academy of Pediatrics charts. They had a chart for phototherapy and they have a chart for exchange transfusion as well. So how do you perform that? So if a baby's TSB levels reach to an age-specific cutoff exchange transfusion exchange transfusion, or if the child anytime shows signs of bilirubin encephalopathy, irrespective of the serum bilirubin level. So you have to do an exchange transfusion, and how do you do it? You cannulate it. So most commonly, what we do through umbilical route, we put a umbilical venous catheter. It is inserted just enough to get free flow of blood. You don't have to go exactly as if to place it high, very high near in the inferior vena cava, very close to the heart. No, not there. So here you have to just push it inside so as to get free flow of blood. You just do it push and pull technique. You pull out some adequate of blood, usually around 8 to 10 ml per kg of the body weight. For a 2 kg baby, it should be around 15 to 16 ml of aliquot. You are pulling out and then you are pushing out the blood which you have chosen to replace. We'll come to the blood with which you would transfuse with. So what are the indications for DVT at birth? In fact, if the baby is in RH isomerization or immunization, so that will include if the cord bilirubin is 5 milligram per deciliter or more, or if the cord hemoglobin, if the baby is anemic and the hemoglobin is less than 10 gram per deciliter. What is the type and volume of blood which we are using for exchange transfusion? The blood which you are using is RH. In case of RH examination, is RH negative. Like if it is a B negative mother and a B positive baby, so we will do it with a negative. Obviously, the blood which you are going to transfer has to be RH negative, and the blood group O you can use it certainly, or B. Either it can be O negative or it can be B negative. RBC which are suspended in AB negative plasma, and this blood which you have mixed and matched by using an AB negative plasma with an RH negative red blood cells have to be cross-matched with both baby and mom. In ABO incompatibility, it has to be RH compatible. So assume if the mother is O positive and the baby is A positive, then you have to take the blood group O and RH is compatible. Positive, yes, you can give positive. Had it been negative also, baby is baby is A negative and the mother is O positive. So obviously you can go give baby's RH also negative and O of the mother. So O negative mostly, or you can get O positive also. And again, this is to be suspended in AB negative plasma cross-match with baby and mother. In other conditions, obviously, like in disease feeding, non-hemolytic conditions, other hemolytic jaundice, you have to give baby's blood group and RH type cross-match with both baby and mother. So, how much is the volume of blood which you are giving, as shown in this thing? You can see this is a volume of blood twice the blood volume, which is around, if you consider it to be 80 or 90, it is 160 to 180 ml per kg. And to prepare blood for DVT, you mix 2/3 of packed cells and 1/3 of plasma. So if it comes out to assume a baby of 2 kg with 160 ml per kg, 320 ml of blood, so you use around 200 of RBC and 100 ml of AB negative plasma. Right. So intravenous immunoglobulins and other things which we are giving for very high, for conditions, especially where you're having isomerization, is intravenous globulin, and this is to reduce hemolysis and consequent hydroglobulin and RH isomerization. But many studies have not found it to be that efficacious. So as of now, according to AIIMS protocol, we are not using IVIG. IV hydration, yes, in cases of babies with dehydration, babies with poor breastfeeding, in those cases, excessive weight loss, IV hydration is given. Actually, it is given in the dose of 50 ml per kg of N/2 or N/3 saline over 8 hours, and this may decrease the need for exchange transfusion. Other agents like clofibrates, steroids, or tinprotophyrine. So these are not used routinely to treat. They are not being used. They're more of experimental drugs. So that was all. So let's just go back in another 3-4 slides. This is the algorithm. Neonatal jaundice. You can see it can be unconjugated, hemolytic, unconjugated, non-hemolytic. Then there is unconjugated with normal lytic count and normal hemoglobin, unconjugated increase and conjugated, both are there. So if you do a DCT test and if it is positive, you know it's RH or AB negative, you do RH or AB, you label it as RH or AB incompatibility. In other case, if it is a Crohn's negative, yes, you can look at the RBC morphology, that's there, and it can be RBC membranopathy like hereditary spherocytosis. If there is an enzyme assay like DCPD, you can have an RBC enzymopathy. If it is unconjugated bilirubin but normal, it is not hemolytic, it can be because of birth trauma, hemorrhage, or like polycythemia, decreased feeding leading to increased intrahepatic circulation. So that could be there. And there are other conditions like hypothyroidism or some of the chromosomal disorders also. So does the baby have serious jaundice? This you have to know. Yeah, if yes, then you have to start phototherapy. If no, then you have to think whether the baby has significant jaundice to require repeat TSB measurement. If yes, then you do again at TSB level and determine if the baby requires exchange or not. And if no, then you have a continuous observation for 12 to 24 hours for next 3 to 5 days. And you have to move about this. What is serious jaundice, in fact? This is how, this should have been the first slide before this. And we, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, ask every child to be screened for jaundice before discharge. That is something which we are not able to do by TSB or TCB in our country. But yes, now with transparent bilirubin shown by Dr. Palak earlier, is a good modality, then you can use it and you can have a risk assessment of jaundice there. Otherwise, you do a visual assessment, which also has been told to you, and you know if what is a serious jaundice. It is if it is come with yellow, palm and so signs of acute bilirubin encephalopathy. If it is more than 95th centile as per the age specific nomogram, and if and you have to measure serum bilirubin if the jaundice is within 24 hours, it's a pathological jaundice, and if you're unsure about the visual assessment also. Yes. So you do this, and that has been done. I'll just tell you 2 or 3 examples. Neonate with birth weight 1400 grams and it's clinically stable. Develops jaundice with serum bilirubin of 10 milligrams on day 5 with no hemolysis. What are you going to do? 1400 grams. So you take help of this chart, and yes, since it is 10 on any time, this child would require phototherapy in a healthy time because it's coming to 7 to 10. So had it been less than 7, probably you would not have given phototherapy. But this was for a healthy baby, and if it is this child was healthy, so you would give phototherapy to this child. So another case is the neonate of gestation 36 weeks with early onset sepsis, developed jaundice with serum bilirubin of 11 at 96 hours with no hemolysis. What is the appropriate? So this is the 36 weeker. So where with the early onset sepsis. So this is the child which will get plotted on the lowermost line. Lowermost line. This is the where it will be plotted for phototherapy because it is less than 35 to 37 weeks, 35 to 38 weeks. But having success, so it will be lower line. But yes, the value is only 11 at 96 hours. So don't worry about it. You don't have to give phototherapy in this time. Neonate with 2800 grams with cord bilirubin of 6 milligram, mother's blood group is A negative. Probably here is the child which would live transfusion immediately. This is the high risk middle line, and obviously this is the baby with more than 5 milligram per deciliter of cord blood. This child. I think this is all, and I think you would understand this. And so in next 3 days we would be discussing about all these issues. Thank you.